Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you here to tonight's City Council meeting. We're just a couple of minutes away from beginning the meeting. Before we begin, I would invite you to stand and join me in the pledge, and then Mark Fujirus will bring the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this time to be able to come together as a city, to be able to work on issues within it. And Lord, I just pray that you, as allowing us as elected officials to be able to make the best decisions for the city as a whole, and to listen to our constituents and everybody that helps guide us and do what we feel is right in our own hearts and minds. All these things I pray in your name.
Amen. Thank you, Mark. All right. I will call to order this regular meeting of the Springdale City Council. This is Tuesday, July 25th, 2023. And we'll start things off by asking our city clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Sprouse?
Here.
Brian Powell?
Here.
Amelia Williams?
Amelia should be on Zoom. Come back.
Jeff Watson?
Here.
Mike Overton? Mike Lawson? Rex Bailey? Randall Harriman?
Here.
Mark Fujirus?
Here.
Ernest Kate?
Here.
Amelia?
Amelia, are you there? If you are, you're muted. Okay. Now we can. Thank you. All right. Okay. Item 4. This is the portion of each council meeting the council sets aside to hear comments from our citizens. If we have residents that would like to address the council concerning an item that is not already on tonight's agenda, we ask that you go to the microphone, clearly state your name and address. Please keep your comments brief and understand that the council won't take action tonight on anything that you bring forward. Is there anyone that would like to address the council concerning an item that is not already on tonight's agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to item 5, approval of minutes. Council, if there are no changes or additions, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, thank you. And I'm going to turn item 6 over to our city attorney, Ernest Kate.
Thank you. We have a petition to vacate a portion of Putman Street, and the city clerk has published notice of the public hearing for tonight as required by statute. In the ordinance is actually item number 15 on your agenda. However, whenever we get to that item, I'm going to request that it be tabled to the August 8th city council meeting, but we can go ahead and hold the public hearing as required by the statute. Is there anyone here that wants to be heard on this issue? If not, we'll close the public hearing.
Okay, public hearing is closed. Item 7, procedural motions. Council, what's your pleasure on that?
I move for A and B.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for A and B. Roll call, please.
Powell?
Yes.
Williams? Williams? Watson?
Yes.
Bailey? Harriman?
Yes, ma'am.
Fujirus?
Yes.
Williams?
I'll go ahead and vote yes.
Carry 6-0.
And Amelia, if you can hear us, we're not able to hear you right now. All right. Item 8 is the Springdale Chamber of Commerce Quarterly Report. Jay Seago is here, Director of Economic Development for the Chamber. Jay?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Jay Seago from Springdale Chamber. A steady second quarter of economic development activity, which included Chamber assisting in a regional headquarters for a lighting and video company that's relocating to Springdale. Additionally, the Chamber has provided support for 2 companies entering into a contract that will relocate them to Springdale. Will add approximately 175 new jobs. We're in varying stages of discussion with 12 other businesses at the time. New jobs are nearly 42,000 people were employed at the end of May, and we've seen an increase of 1,500 jobs since the beginning of the year. Unemployment is at 1.8%, which compares to 2.1% this time last year. July's sales tax receipts totaled $2 million, a 2.1 increase from this time last year, and year-to-date for 2003, the total is 13.7 million. And we've seen 15 consecutive positive month-over-month increases. Permits have been 18 commercial and 114 residential permits in the second quarter. The next Chamber Ascender Seminar Series is going to go through IT and cybersecurity. That's going to be in a couple of months. We've completed 22 business visits this quarter, and we're supporting 3 of those businesses through AEDC's state incentive pipeline. For some of the things that are new, the UAMS Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine Clinics going to have a breaking ground on their new facility on September 15th. Thanks for your support for the Goodwill's Training and Education Center ribbon cutting and grand opening that was last week. You've read about Big Emma announcement last week identifying mixed income apartment development in downtown Springdale. Watch for the grand opening this fall for the Hunt Family Children's Safety Center. In Northeast Springdale, near the Kendrick Avenue, Frito-Lay warehouse is nearly complete, and the Public Facilities Board has completed a sewer extension project that's providing to this facility as well as others that will be in that area. Also located on the Kendrick property is Powers of Arkansas, which broke ground on a 17,200 square foot facility, and they're going to open in the spring. Moving to Turnbow Industrial Park, we have 2 industrial food equipment companies that are expanding. First is FPEC Corp. It's nearly complete with a 50,000 square foot facility, and Profab LLC recently broke ground on their new facility. We have a new Aldi's coming to Elm Springs. We're still watching the La Quinta Inn and Suites renovations through the end of this year. If any of your questions, that completes my brief. We have 4 left. Yes, sir.
Jay, can you tell us a little bit, I don't remember or know anything about this BRE, the BRE visits. What is
Sure.
that?
Business retention and expansion. And so this is touching base with all local businesses to find out where are they for expanding or if they were to relocate to this area. So part of my job is to go out and visit with our area businesses.
Any other questions for Jay? Anyone? All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, item 9, Planning Commission report and recommendations. Patsy Christie, Director of Planning and Community Development. And it looks like we got Rick Berry here in Patsy's stead. Rick?
Yes, sir. Clicker's not playing nicely. Sorry about this. Cool, thank you. Now, both of these come with emergency clauses, the first of which is R 2328, a rezoning from SF2 to P1. An ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto by rezoning certain lands from low, medium density, single-family residential district SF2 to institutional district P1 and declaring an emergency. And on the June 6th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting, this was recommended for approval by a vote of 7-0. Move the ordinance be adopted.
Okay, we've got a motion, a second to approve the ordinance. Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Williams. Watson,
Yes.
Bailey. Harriman,
Yes, ma'am.
Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Carries
Can we do an
five-
emergency clause?
Carries 5-0, but we're gonna need Amelia if we're gonna.
Can
pass
we
the
come
emergency.
back, Ernest, if we get her back and address these emergency clauses?
That'd be fine.
Okay,
I think there's
there's
2
just,
items,
there's
maybe
just-
3.
yeah, there's just 2 or 3 items. So if y'all want to move on to, Rick, if you want to go ahead with item B, we can come back if we get Amelia back and do the emergency clauses.
Yes, sir. Next up is R 2334, and this is a rezone from C2 to C5 of approximately 3.8 acres. An ordinance amending ordinance 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto by rezoning certain lands from general commercial district C2 to thoroughfare commercial district C5 and declaring an emergency. At the July 10th Planning Commission meeting, it was recommended by a vote of 7-0 that this be approved by the city council.
Thank you, Rick.
I move the ordinance be adopted.
Got a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Any other comments or questions? Anybody in the audience for this one? Okay, roll call, please.
Watson,
Yes.
Bailey. Harriman,
Yes, ma'am.
Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams.
Carries 5-0.
All right,
All
thank
right.
you.
We'll, if we're not able to go back and address these emergency clauses tonight, I guess we could bring them back in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Right?
On the 8th.
That'd get it rolling a little quicker. Okay, thank you. All right, item 10, Finance Committee, Amelia Williams, and Amelia's, she would probably turn this over to someone that's here anyway, the committee. Go ahead.
We're going to call her phone through IT, and if we want to batch the votes on the 2 emergency clauses, we could go ahead and get her vote on those.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Sure.
Luis is going to go ahead and call her. If we want to do this next resolution, we could come back. to
All right, just let us know when you get her, and we'll address the emergency clauses. Who would like to take the Finance Committee? Anybody?
I can take it.
Okay, thank you, Randall.
Opening up the Finance Committee, we have a resolution authorizing the purchase of property located at 2122 Wagon Wheel Road, Springdale, Benton County, Arkansas, forwarded from committee with recommendation for approval, and this will be presented by Blake Holte, Fire Chief.
Good evening. If you remember, this is a proposal to purchase a parcel for the construction of Fire Station 10 that's associated with the bond funding that we have available. If you have,
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. If there are questions and comments, I'll let everybody know Greg Taylor's here, who's the Realtor who assisted us with this and the fire department over the past several months, or a few months anyway. Do we have any questions or comments? Anyone? Anyone else in the room? All right.
Bailey. Harriman,
Yes, ma'am.
Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams,
yes,
Watson.
Yes.
Carries 6-0. Now, do we want to go back and take
Yeah.
up the emergency clauses on 9A and 9B?
Yeah, Amelia, are you good to consider 2 emergency clauses?
yeah, yes, that's fine.
Okay, we can hear you now. Thank you for getting back on.
You can,
I'll read the ordinances that were approved. First one is an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto, rezoning R23-28 certain lands located at 702 West End Street from low-density single-family residential to institutional district and declaring an emergency. So we need a motion and a second to approve the emergency clause, and then we can vote.
move the emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
Okay, emergency clause has been motioned and seconded. Amelia, just for your information, if you weren't able to hear us, this item passed council unanimously. So now I'll ask Denise to call the roll for the emergency clause.
Harriman,
Yes, ma'am.
Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams,
yes,
Watson,
Yes.
Bailey.
Carries 6-0.
All right, thank you. And Amelia, the next item is an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto by rezoning certain lands located at 696, 742, and 776 East Robinson Avenue from general commercial district to thoroughfare commercial district and declaring an emergency. This also passed unanimously, and do I have a motion?
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second now for the emergency clause, and I'm gonna ask Denise to call for the vote.
Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Williams,
yes,
Watson,
Yes.
Bailey. Harriman,
Yes, ma'am.
Carries 6-0.
All right, thank you. And we are at item 10B, which is the Finance Committee. Amelia, Randall has gone ahead and started taking that, so we'll just move on now with item B. Randall?
All right, item B is a resolution authorizing the execution of a contract for architect services forwarded from committee with recommendation for approval, presented by Colby Fulver.
Thank you. This is for the project across the street, the American Legion building. It's a historic building here for us in Springdale. And the reason we're bringing this to you now is we started out with a 99-year lease, and we are 5 years from that expiring. So we want to make sure we go ahead and get the plan set for the exterior preservation and renovation through Gary Clement. He's the architect that we use on our historic buildings here. This is going to be paid for out of the general fund. The expense is $26,250. And as I said, this will be paid out of the general fund. And Section 2 allows the mayor to execute architectural service contract with Clement and Associates. And I can answer any questions for you.
American Legion's very grateful. I move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to approve the resolution. Anybody else got questions or comments?
So, Colby, this is just for for architectural
Yes, sir.
study or whatever architect design.
That's correct. And
Yeah.
we'll get a plan from them, and then at some point, we'll bring back to you a contract for the actual construction
And when would we
services.
expect that to happen?
This
This
is,
year, next year, 5 years?
I would say it's probably going to be in 2024. I don't know that he'll have it all done before then, but it'll probably be next year.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, roll call, please.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes, ma'am.
Harriman.
Yes, ma'am.
Fugierus.
Yes.
Carried 6-0.
And finally, we have a resolution authorizing the payment of an invoice, project number 18 BPS 14, presented by Ryan Carr.
Looks like it's gonna be
Not
Ben.
Ryan Carr.
Yeah.
Ben.
Ryan went home, so it'll be me. This is for Dixieland Road construction, and they just did a really good job last month, and so the invoice that they're due is over $1 million. So we're here for the ordinance to get your approval.
Resolution passed.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to approve the resolution. Any other comments or questions? Okay, Denise?
Williams,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes, ma'am.
Harriman.
Yes, ma'am.
Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Carried 6-0.
And that'll close Finance Committee.
All right, thank you. Item 11, health, sanitation, and property maintenance. Chairman Jeff Watson. Jeff?
Thank you. The Health Sanitation Property Maintenance Committee had one item that came back to committee from a previous meeting that had been tabled, and it had to do with the raising of property at 2101 West Huntsville Avenue. There was some discussion about a contract for that property, contract for sale, and I'll read the title to the ordinance. An ordinance ordering the raising, parentheses, demolition, and removal of a certain structure within the city of Springdale, Arkansas, located at 2101 West Huntsville Avenue, to declare an emergency and for other purposes. The committee recommends approval of this ordinance, forwarded to the council with recommendation for approval.
Ernest, have you talked to them since our meeting? Okay.
Yeah, council and mayor, good evening. I've got good news. The property owner did come in today and has gotten a demo permit. They are in the process of getting the asbestos tested, and they'll have to wait 10 days.
They're wanting to demolish it themselves?
Correct. And so they have to wait 10 days for the state to inspect it. Once the asbestos comes back, they have already been removing contents from the building, so it's kind of a done deal, but it will take probably 10 to 15 days before they get started. So the thought was to bring it forward for the vote, so we would have a backup in case they don't get it done,
With no emergency clause?
with no emergency clause.
And if we don't pass emergency clause, then it goes into effect
They have 60 days.
60
in
days.
60 days.
That gives them, that way, because otherwise, if we just pull it and they don't follow through, we'll have to start over.
We'd be back here again, yeah.
the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Any other questions or comments? Is anyone here for this particular property?
She actually, when she came in today, you know, since she would already gotten it, I told her it probably wasn't really necessary for her to be here, so she's not here. so-
Okay, I just want to be sure somebody didn't have some questions.
But she knows it's still,
Correct.
okay.
She knows we're gonna vote for it tonight.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Roll call, please.
Watson,
Yes.
Bailey, Harriman,
Yes, ma'am.
Fidgeroux,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams,
yes,
Carry 6-0, and I will remove the emergency clause.
Thank you, council. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Item 12, Parks and Rec Committee, Chairman Mike Lawson. Mike is not here tonight. Would somebody like to take that, please? Looks like it's got one item.
I can pick it up.
Okay, thanks, sir.
All right, Parks and Recreation, we have a resolution amending the 2023 budget for the City of Springdale Parks and Recreation Department, forwarded from committee with recommendation for approval, presented by Chad Wolf with Parks and Rec.
Yeah, we're wanting to amend our buildings and grounds, and, what we doing? 79,950 for the insurance recovery to our buildings and grounds.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any other questions or comments? All right. Denise?
Bailey, Harriman,
Yes, ma'am.
Fidgeroux,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams,
yes,
Watson,
Yes.
Carry 6-0.
All right, and while Chad went back to sit down, but just a reminder that if you're out and about and get by Murphy Park, our all-inclusive playground is coming right along, and today they began installing the fitness court.
Right, and
That
they
was
should be done tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we'll have a ribbon cutting sometime this week or next week, or
Okay.
whenever they set it up.
Which
The-
one? Both of those two things?
No, just the
Fitness.
fitness court.
Yeah.
But eventually, when the playground gets done, we'll have to have another ribbon cutting too. And that's probably a couple weeks out
Okay.
still.
Well, make sure as soon as we get a time for the fitness court that we get that out as quick as possible so everybody can adjust their calendars. All right? Okay. All right, thanks, Chad. All right, item 13 is Police and Fire Committee and Chairman Brian Powell. Brian?
Thank you, Mayor. We had one item come up at the last committee meeting, and it was forwarded with recommendation for approval. I'll read the title of this resolution. It's a resolution adopting the revisions to the Department Manual of the Springdale Police Department pursuant Arkansas Code annotated 14-51-302 and repealing and replacing all prior resolutions pertaining thereto. And this is done for our annual accreditation, to have our policy manual changes updated and reviewed. And we have Assistant Chief Derek Hudson here tonight to answer any questions. Did I state that correctly, Derek?
You did. Annually, we are required to go through our entire policy manual just to make sure that it is up to date with any changes in laws, accreditation standards, or best practices, which we've done, and those changes should be in your packet.
Move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
All right, thank you. I've got a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Are there any other questions or comments? Anyone in the room? Okay, Denise?
Harriman,
Yes, ma'am.
Fidgeroux,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams,
yes,
Watson,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes, ma'am.
Carry 6-0.
Thank you. Item 14, we've got one resolution coming from the Committee of the Whole, and I'm going to turn it over to Councilman Brian Powell. Brian?
Thank you, Mayor. We met as a committee as a whole on last committee meeting, and we brought this resolution forward. And this is a non-binding resolution that shows encouragement and support for our library. As everybody knows, as of October or August the 1st, Act 372 is going to take place. And it's going to affect our library as well as all schools and municipal libraries. And so this resolution was written as an act of encouragement, support for our library. And before I read the title of it, I want to read a couple of excerpts in this resolution. It Says whereas Act 372 of 2023 will go into effect on August 1st, 2023, and will have an impact on the review of materials available to the library or at the library. And the library should proactively take steps to ensure that materials that are not subject matter or age appropriate, such as those that contain sexual content or imagery, are not located in areas where children's materials are located. And whereas the City Council of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, wish to express its support for the staff of the Springdale Public Library in their continuing efforts to serve this community. And I'm going to read the title of this resolution now, is a resolution requesting the Springdale Public Library ensure that materials contained within the children's section of the library are subject matter and age appropriate. And we have Ann here tonight. Ann, would you like to say any words on this?
I'm here to answer any further questions anybody might have.
Well, I voted against it last time. I'm gonna vote against it again. We just don't have any authority anymore, which I disagree with. It's a Springdale Public, it's not the quorum court. And you know, I have problems with some of the stuff that was already in there. Shouldn't have been in there in the first place. But this is not that I don't support you or the library. If you read it, if you go in front of the building, you'll see my name on it. Okay?
Understood.
So I've always, but I,
Well, just a reminder that this is a non-binding resolution in support. It has nothing to do with authority, it has nothing to do with,
but it does have authority with me because we should still have the authority and we don't. That was my point. That was state legislature's fault.
It was, if you remember, it was forwarded with recommendation for approval, and we were requested to add specific language supporting
were,
the staff
thank
life,
you.
which has been added.
thank you for that reminder, and that was an additional statement of support for the staff of the Springdale Public Library in their continuing efforts in serving the community.
Any other questions for Ann? Council, more questions, more comments before we vote? Oh, we don't have a motion? Well, we gotta have that before we vote.
I move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second now. Now, are there any other comments or questions? Anybody in the room? Oh, go ahead, Kyle. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name's Kyle Horn. Just, yeah, want to thank you guys for putting that resolution forward. I think it makes sense. I think it's helpful. I think it adds clarity where clarity is needed. So thank you for pushing that forward.
Thanks, sir. All right, if there are no other comments, I'll ask for the vote.
Fugierus,
No.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams,
yes,
Watson,
No.
Bailey,
No.
Harriman,
Well, it doesn't have the requisite number of votes, so it fails by a vote of 3-3.
All right. Okay, thank you. Item 15. And that's the public hearing we're not
Yeah,
going
this,
to act on?
council, I would request that this ordinance be tabled to the August 8th council meeting. There's one signature that still remains to be obtained for this to take place.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion to table, right?
Yes.
Any other questions or comments before we vote? Roll call, please.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams,
yes,
Watson,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes, ma'am.
Harriman,
Yes.
Fugierus,
Yes.
Table 6-0.
All right, and item 16,
Item 16, if you remember, back on June 27th, the council passed a resolution authorizing the execution of a charitable donation agreement for the city to purchase property for the expansion of Bluff Cemetery. We noticed after that there was an additional parcel, a sixth parcel that was included in this expansion that was not specifically referenced in that resolution. So we wanted to make sure that we had all our ducks in a row, so that's why we're bringing this resolution forward. It's a resolution amending resolution number 69-23, which authorized the mayor and city clerk to enter into a charitable donation agreement and authorize the purchase of property for the expansion of Bluff Cemetery. It doesn't change the purchase price or anything else.
okay. Was that a motion,
Yes.
Rex?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Second.
And a second. All right, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Williams,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes, ma'am.
Harriman,
Yes.
Fugierus, Powell.
Yes.
Carries 6-0.
All right, thank you. Item 17, a discussion for the date for the first city council meeting, committee meeting in August. I assume I know what you're gonna wanna do because it's what we usually do, but we need to nail it down.
What's the first step? What is the problem?
Well, it's where the first is on a Tuesday, so if we did the first Monday, you'd have the committee meeting the night before the council meeting. So what we've done, because we've got an extra week in August, or an extra Tuesday in August, put the committee meeting back to the last Monday in August, yeah,
Or July.
or July, I'm sorry, yeah, July.
July 31st, which would be Monday.
Next Monday.
Next Monday, so it basically keep us on the same schedule. Everybody okay with that?
Sounds good to me.
We need action, or we just need to announce it?
If you're fine with that, we'll just, I got
Everybody
a thumbs
good?
up, so.
Okay, so the next committee meeting will be next Monday, the 31st. And then our first council meeting will be the second Tuesday, which would be the 8th, I think, of August, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, any comments from city council? City attorney?
Are you gonna say what I?
What I think you're gonna say?
I don't wanna say, I don't wanna steal
You
your
go
thunder.
first, you go right.
I don't wanna steal your thunder if you're gonna say what I think you're gonna say. And I said it this last meeting and I was afraid I was gonna jinx it, but I'm glad I didn't. Because I was praising the, IT staff and the building maintenance staff, Greg Bowden, his team, and Mark and his team, on the move. We got all moved in. They did a fantastic job. And Colby, I don't mean to steal your thunder, but I said at the last meeting and I said, I hope I don't jinx it. Well, I didn't.
Yeah.
So they did fantastic.
They have done a good job, and they're not done yet.
And they're not doing
So, just get
That's
that
right,
out. I
and
just
they're
want to
not
get that
done.
out there. But, we appreciate all your